Hey everyone, before we start today's video, I first want to give a huge thank you to the following people that you see on your screen. This was sort of a passion project build for me, and it did require working with a lot of different people in order to source different parts for me, small bits, the SRAM Groupset, etc. So I just want to say thank you to all these folks and let them know that their work and effort is truly appreciated.
I'm good looking and I get all the aunties and grandmas, but maybe they're just being a player hater, I don't know. Sorry. Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. Today is officially LA Sprint Day because my LA Sprint is finally finished. So in this video, guys, we're going to talk about the build, we'll talk about the components, and we'll also get this bike out on the road and see how it actually feels every day. Oh, and by the way, if you are new to my channel, my name is Patrick Lino, and I am a cyclist here in the Chicagoland area who builds bikes, who does bike reviews, and today's video is sponsored by Obama. I'm sorry, did I say Obama? I meant to say Yo Mama. Check that out, guys. Looking good, man. This whole entire colorway with the matching tan wall tires, everything just looks super duper sick. Today in Chicago, it's a pretty calm day out on the lake. It's crazy how, because like if this was 2 years ago on the lakefront would be completely crowded with people, families, a lot of joggers, etc. You know, just based on all of the world events happening 2 years ago. But now that everyone's back to work and everyone has an actual real life besides myself, there's like nobody out on the lake here, and we are at the beginning of October. The best way to describe this feeling on this LA Sprint out on the road is it's similar to if you're here in Chicago, a divvy bike, or if you're in New York, I think they call them city bikes. They're just like those aluminum bikes that you can rent for like 30 minutes at a time. Now, I'm not saying that this bike is sluggish or slow or heavy like those city bikes. It's absolutely not. But the feeling or the sensation you get is just extremely planted on the road. It just soaks up bumps really, really well. I'm sure part of that has to do with my tire choice, my wheel choice, the handlebars I'm using. All that stuff takes into account, but the ride is definitely not jarring at all. In fact, I would say the overall ride is more compliant, if that isn't even the word I want to use, but it's definitely more comfortable than my original rim brake LA Sprint. And you know, I realized after all these months, I always talk about compliant this, compliant that, and I probably don't really know what that word compliant means, but I definitely can feel like on my LA Sprint now that this bike for sure is compliant. We have carbon wheels, of course. We are running what are these? These are my Continental GP5000 28C tires. I've been experimenting with the pressure on these, and so right now I'm running about 78 PSI in the back and about 75 PSI in the front. And so because of the carbon fork as well, and because the carbon handlebars here from Prime, not the cheapest thing in the world, but just the whole entire setup just makes this ride extremely planted out on the road. And I think that's really, really important, because some of the other bikes I've tested in the past, now granted those bikes have been more affordable, of course, but some of them, you know, at times can feel kind of rattly, kind of jolting, and just not a bike that, you know, you could definitely live with every day, but it's just not going to give you the sort of quality feeling that this bike does here. So yeah, so far this first ride, guys, I really like the way everything turned out. Another thing I want to talk about is eTap. So this is my first time using eTap shifting here. As far as installation goes, it was super duper easy to set up here. So you figure you only have to route just the hydraulic lines. You don't have to do any other extra cabling. So setting this up was a breeze. Unfortunately, getting SRAM eTap is really difficult to source these days. I'm super duper thankful that I had a connection that came through to really sort of catapult me getting this Sprint frame, because I knew I was going to be able to hook it up with SRAM Force eTap. But super duper easy to set up. The shifting is lightning quick, never missed a shift. Being able to micro adjust the shifting and the derailleurs using the app has also been really, really easy. You know what I hate when I'm on the lakefront? I wave to so many cyclists every single day, and maybe about 10% of the cyclists actually wave back to me. I don't know if it's because, you know, I'm handsome, I'm good looking, and I get all the aunties and grandmas, but maybe they're just being a player hater. I don't know. But to all you guys out there, make sure you wave and acknowledge other cyclists on the road. Don't be that guy or gal. A couple of other things I forgot to mention is I did swap out the saddle. This is just the mid-level specialized power short nose saddle. I think the width on this is 143. The original saddle that I put on here was the Prime carbon saddle. That one was unfortunately a little bit too narrow for my frame. That one was like 128 millimeters width, and even though it was carbon and it was of course lighter than this one, is maybe about 70 or 80 grams lighter. Not anything significantly lighter, but just it was a very firm ride, and I kind of felt myself sliding kind of side to side with my sit bones. So I went back to this specialized saddle, which makes sense because the bike is specialized, and it definitely is super comfortable, and it keeps me planted in place, especially when I'm putting down the power. The other thing I want to talk about is this saddle right here. So the saddle, or I'm sorry, not the saddle, this stem, excuse me. So the stem I have on here currently is a 120 millimeter length, -6 degree on this stem. Now, unfortunately, I'm still waiting for the permanent stem that I'm going to be using, which is a 130 -12 Specialized S-Works saddle. I ordered it from my local shop. It still hasn't arrived yet. It's been 2 weeks, so no harm, no foul against the sales rep that sold it to me. I'm just still waiting, and so I have this in the intern. Now I know you guys are gonna probably comment on my integrated setup here. So this headset top cover that you see right here, this is 3D printed. I had a local buddy here in Chicago that printed it out for me. He's not selling these, so don't ask me for it. He just did me this as a solid favor. So yeah, the reach is a little bit short, and I do like to be a little bit more aggressive, which is why I need a longer and a negative longer or depth negative 12 degree stem. Yo, look at my mustache, guys. I'm looking like an adult film star right now. If you guys like my mustache, then please give this video a thumbs up. And if you don't like my mustache, still give yourself the thumbs up, but put it up your... Another thing too that I want to talk about is crank arm length. So for the past 2 years, I've been running just a traditional length crank arms, which is 172.5. But with this current setup on my LA Sprint, I've been experimenting with 170 millimeter, and the difference is definitely subtle, but you definitely can feel the difference here, and I actually like it. You think about if you're doing some sort of crit racing or anything like that, where you're cornering out of, you know, you're putting down the power out of the corners, and you're worried about a pedal strike, then going with a shorter crank arm length might be beneficial to you. Now, I know there's been some tests on whether or not it actually is beneficial or not, but if you have problems with your hips or your knees, I want to say this is probably a good idea. I don't really feel like I'm losing sort of perceived torque on the pedal stroke by going with a shorter length crank arm. You can hear my free hub, but yeah, I'd say so far 170 millimeter length crank arms has been working for me, no problems.
This is definitely a bike I would definitely recommend for the price. Now at the price, what is it? You're talking like $1,700 USD for just the frame. So obviously it's not the cheapest frame in the world, and there are a lot of really great carbon fiber frames that you can get for the same price. So one of them comes to mind obviously is the Windspace T1500. I do love that bike, and I can probably say that both this bike and that bike as a whole feels pretty similar out on the road. They both feel planted. It definitely feels like when you're putting down the power, when you're sprinting or when you're climbing up hills, definitely feels like you're not losing any power because of the frame itself. And I most certainly cannot say that with some of the other cheaper frames out there, like for example the VeloBuild 168, which does have the same geometry as this bike. That's basically what that bike was modeled after, this the Tarmac S07, but that definitely is a frame that does not feel like the stiffest bike you've ever ridden. And obviously you can't expect that because that bike, or the frame I should say, is only $500 USD. So I think for right now, we'll do some more testing a little bit later, but for right now, as far as how this bike is, it definitely is a must buy if you are in the market for LA Sprint, and if you got the money, and especially if you can kit it out with some really nice wheels like I got here. I got these Elite Drive 45D wheels. Big thank you to One Sigma, who is the distributor in Toronto in Canada, for being able to sell these 45D wheels. Really nice wheels. What else we got here? I also need to do a review on this Magene radar light. So far it has worked awesome, phenomenally, no issues. It definitely, for 130 bucks, definitely is a must buy, but I'll do a separate quick review on that later. You can hear there my radar says it's disconnected, whatever. So yeah guys, let's continue. Another thing I noticed instantly when I got on this bike is that when you get out of the saddle when you're sprinting, it is immediate. There's no flexing at all in the frame. It's just as soon as you get out of the saddle, when you put power down, it's like bam, it's time to go. Like there's just so much urgency with this frame, and yeah, it feels a lot like my my Windspace T1500 Aero frame set in that regard. But yeah, man, it's just like you can feel the power come up through your legs
from the pedals and your pedal stroke, and man, it's just like boom, out of here, time to go.
That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all the people out there who really helped me put this bike together. I had to reach out to about 9 or 10 different people just to make this work. So thank you to everyone out there, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.